Guys, we're live. I'm on the CW Instagram, right? I always get a little concerned. It seems as if I did this right. Okay. Someone just let me know, okay? Happy Pride, my friends. And thank you for joining us today. This is so exciting. I adore Tyler Blackburn, as I know all of you do, and I was so happy that he asked me to be a part of this conversation today, and so thrilled that the CW is doing this. I hope you guys have tuned into some of the previous combos. They've been amazing. So yeah, hashtag CW Pride. We are here to talk about all things allyship. That's where I'm hoping I can communicate some helpful stuff for you guys, and Tyler's journey and what Pride Month means to him. You know, what his support system looks like, what pulls him to stories that you know, represent him, and gay characters well, like Alex Maines is doing on our show Roswell, New Mexico, which if you haven't watched, I hope you check out. So, all right, without further ado, I am going to see if we can invite the unicorn of a human who is Tyler Blackburn. I'm Lloyd. All right. He's here! We're waiting.
Hey!
I love you.
Can you, can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
It's always like this like little task in the beginning, like, are we on? Are we on? And then it's like live and you're like, yikes.
I was so excited.
This is how it really goes, everybody.
It's truly every time. This morning I was so excited and I was like, everyone, we're having a conversation. Go to CW Roswell's Instagram. And I'm like, technical difficulty number one.
I know.
It's on the CW's Instagram.
I know.
How are you?
You know what? This is the new normal for right now, so we have to just deal with it.
Yeah.
And we're learning as we go, right?
We're learning as we go, and at least it's you and me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm just gonna
you make me feel very safe. This is why I wanted this dynamic to be what it is.
Oh, I love it. That means the most to me.
Yeah.
Thank you, baby. Okay, so I feel like we should start off with what Pride Month means to you. Yeah. You tell me, what does it mean to you, and what does it bring up for you? And
I mean, there are so many points to touch on with that question, honestly. And I mean, I feel like as I am continuing on my journey of life, it's probably becoming more and more relevant and more important. And I'm still learning a lot about the history of it. But ultimately, I think it's just, for me, as far as like historically, it's just kind of how the LGBTQ plus community has become what it is. I mean, I think it's representative of, you know, kind of where we were at one point, and then people started to put their foot down and they started to march and they started to, you know, say like, this is us.
Yeah.
This is us. We're here. We're queer. That sort of mentality. And I think, you know, it hasn't been like the easiest path, you know? And so the fact that we're even having this conversation right now is huge. And it's just so symbolic of, you know, the people who took those steps initially,
right,
have paved the way for like this kind of conversation on Instagram Live, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's the thing to celebrate.
I mean, everything, even the banners, the like icons having the flag around it. It's like, it is stuff where I go, I don't even know if in middle school I could imagine that.
No way.
Crazy.
And we're not even that old, girl. I'm older than you.
For the record, we're not that old.
I know. I'm even older than you. But no, I mean, you're right. I feel like that was something that for me was, you know, junior high school. That's an interesting time that you talk about just briefly, because it's like, I feel like that's when you start to really see differences in yourself, no matter what those things are, whether it's like, wow, I don't like fit in with that group of people or that group of people. And I didn't really get that I was queer until high school, but I think in middle school, it was definitely a time where I was questioning things, but it felt so taboo. It felt wrong. It felt like something to be ashamed of. And I just remember like clocking what I thought the cool straight guys were doing or wearing. And I had to have those clothes,
Yeah.
But that wasn't even enough. I still got bullied. But my point is that it is at that point in life still taboo, I don't think it's the same now though. I think it's changing. I have 3 brothers who are quite a bit younger.
Your brothers, I mean, that's such an amazing. Thank you, motorcycle gang. Happy Pride. That's such an amazing. Because for those who don't know, your brothers are significantly younger. They're so you get to have that window into the difference then between your experience and theirs.
Absolutely, and that's been really soothing for me because there is just this sort of this tone within schools now where it's like if you bully someone who's queer, you're suddenly then the one who's the outsider, and that's so insanely powerful. Not that anybody should be bullied for anything. I mean, but I think it's really about, my point is that it just has flipped completely in maybe not in every state or city, but I'm from Los Angeles, so that it, I don't know. I just think it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So for me, I feel like, pride is just, and like I said, I'm still discovering kind of what it means for me and how to celebrate this time, and how also like as a public figure, I can be authentic to myself and my journey, support organizations or companies that are trying to become more inclusive or, people who are wanting to learn more, maybe people that are signing on to this live right now want to know more about what Pride is or whatever, so I'm honestly learning still as I go,
That's what I see as your friend for you, which I love, is I see you in your journey with just being a member of the community and being proud of that and of being a champion for the community. And then what that means as an ally, but what it took for you to do it in your own story, and then to say, I'm going to, so talk about that. Let's talk about your decision and making sure it was on your terms, on your timing, all of that. Give us that.
Let me get some water.
Okay, great. And vodka.
No. Gosh, yeah, man. It was again, I'm not going to keep saying it, but I'm still figuring it out. I was just having a couple conversations within the last 5 days with people where I was like, I'm unpacking deeper shame than I even thought existed around my sexuality. And, but for me, it was like, my friends, like my closest friends, they knew this aspect of who I was. Even like, honestly, even like my ex-girlfriends, they knew this about my life, my journey, and I'm trying to sort things out. And, so for me, it was like, it felt safe, but it was also like I was trying to make it as an actor. And I had all of these wrong ideas of like what I needed to do in order to find success. And, it was kind of ingrained in me that it was like, I literally had management tell me, we don't care if you're gay, but when you walk into a room, you can't seem gay. Like verbatim.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, I'm not even gay. Like I got like really defensive, but also like I walked out of there, I could almost feel it right now. Like, you get that lump in your throat. I just remember that feeling so vividly. But anyway, so for me, it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to just separate those two things. And I really had always wanted to be an actor, so that was extremely important to me.
Right.
And I found success in acting, and it was like, Wow. Okay. And yeah, I think also for me, it was like sort of, I know this might sound, I don't even know how some people would interpret this, but I felt like it was a little bit safe that I was, that I identified as bisexual, you know, and it wasn't like I'm gay, you know, it felt like that was like, okay, at least I have that too, you know what I mean? And that's just me being an artist, and that's me just figuring it all out, you know, and I had to like somehow make it this, I had to justify it, I had to make it some sort of little charade, even in my own mind, just to like make myself feel comfortable while simultaneously finding success. And I found success on a show that was teen based, and I got a lot of attention from younger women and girls, you know, and it was like, I think what ended up happening throughout the years was, I mean, the people that I worked with, they knew this about me, you know, it was never really secretive in that way. But for me, it was like publicly, I felt pressured to, just in my own mind, not by anybody, just in my own mind, to uphold a certain image, you know, teen heartthrob or whatever you want to call it. I thought that's all, you know, that's what I had to be. So I think over the years I just got so, like my soul was just getting hurt by having to feel ashamed of that still. And the last season of PLL, I dated my first guy, and it like blew everything wide open for me, but like not all in good ways, in bad ways too. Lots of shame. I felt like I introverted. I felt like I was less willing to do press. I was less willing to be social, to kind of play the role of a public figure, because I felt like I had this secret, you know?
It seems like it all comes, and so it's harder to manage, and we're so good at that. And I know you are as an actor too. Is that you're doing press, you're putting yourself in vulnerable situations, and it's like the seams can start to, you can start to leak stuff that you might not be ready to share.
Oh yeah, I mean well, yeah, exactly, and that's the thing too, where it was always like, you know, I mean, I do remember just even questions like, "What kind of girl is your type?" And it was like, I know what kind of girl is my type, but I'm not dating a girl right now, so I don't really know that makes sense for me to answer. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like I had to construct something that I didn't want to even do, you know? But anyway, so then I had about a year off between Pretty Little Liars, and then Roswell came, and I really did jump at the chance to even audition to play a gay character, because I felt like the year or two prior, I had been on this journey of like understanding the importance of representation, and also just like really excited about and embracing the fact that like queer characters were being portrayed. And it was just like, wow, that feels like something I want to do. Not like I didn't need to do it. I really wanted to do it, like from my soul. And like, honestly, selfish or not, it initially was like, this is going to help me. This is going to be cathartic for me. This is the antithesis of the last show and the last character that I played.
Yeah. I mean,
so for me, what? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and what a gift that you having an experience that you knew was going to be good for you was going to be so wildly good for all of us, and everybody throw in hearts in here. You know,
totally. I mean,
artistry when it lines up like that, like.
Yeah, and I think.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know about you, but like my acting coach talks about like, do you like the character? Like, because we get sent scripts, we get sent auditions, and we might be like, I don't know. Yeah. But it's always like, do you like the character? Because that's most important. Like that's where you do your work, you know? And I identified with so many aspects of Alex. I mean, it was just like, and I usually get terrified to audition. I was not even nervous to audition. And I just knew this person. I knew this person so well, you know? And, but it wasn't until we got picked up and we shot season 1, and then I really understood the magnitude of like, okay, this is going to be on TV, so this isn't actually just about me anymore, you know? Yeah. And so I started really discussing with my team about, I really wanted to come out, you know? And it felt like the right thing to do. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, separate like work from personal life. And I'm very much a private person, but I just felt like what I didn't want to do is get wrapped up in the lies again, or like the feeling of like I need to hide anything. You know what I mean? I could only imagine if I hadn't come out, they'd be like, "Wait, so you're playing a gay character? Like, where are you? Where are you sexually?" You know, and I think it's a lot about. I think a lot of pride is taking ownership of your identity, you know, and like standing up and being like, "This is who I am, and I'm going to scream it in your face."
Yes.
Not out of anger, even just this is what I need to do, you know. And so that's why I decided to come out the way that I did.
What did your support system look like at that point, and who'd you use? Who, you know?
Man, I very well might get a little emotional here because like I think for me I had to kind of like take it step by step in coming out to even like other people in my family and stuff that I hadn't, because it was like, okay, this is all going to come out publicly, so I feel like they deserve the respect. And I kind of just went down the line a little bit, and like the amount of support from my family and my friends and my coworkers, my team, has been like overwhelming. It's wild, and I feel almost like it's like I don't even know, like wow, I really got a good deal here. You know what I mean? And I mean, my family, I'm definitely sort of a black sheep in my family. Like I'm far more artistic. I always would show up to family things wearing like cool outfits, and it was like, what are you wearing? You know what I mean? And it was just, I've always been like the artsy one, you know? And my family is truly, I know them so deep down, and I'm like, they are so loving, just loving. Accepting, I don't know, loving at the time. I'm like, I know they love hard and deep.
Yeah.
And I was still very afraid because we come from different walks of life, but it's been unbelievable. It's been unbelievable. And my closest friends, and like, you know, even just like being on the show with you guys and understanding the importance of playing this character, like to me, and all of you guys supporting me like that is amazing. And I said this to Vlamis a lot too, because I really didn't know what to expect. You know, he's a straight man, and my understanding of straight men is they bully queer boys and men. So it was like, I wasn't sure how it was going to work, and he's been so generous and so open and willing to ask questions and go there with me, you know? So it's just like crazy. And the hardest part for me still is self-acceptance. It's like literally an everyday battle. Like some days I just am like, I don't have a care in the world, you know? And then there are other days where I'm really abusive to myself in my head, you know? And this is, again, part of that journey of like, you can be supported by so many people and hear all of the good things, but until you support and love yourself, it's just never going to feel right, or it's never going to feel complete. And so that's really my journey. And it's so helpful, again, to have those support systems, and even just the response from fans, you know, when I did come out, when they watched the show, the response also so validating. Or like we did some of those, I've done some of these, you know, calls on Zoom and stuff like that. Zoom.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, one-on-ones, and people like they have a small amount of time, right? But they're like, I just want to say thank you so much. You've changed my life, and you know, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I literally cry. I cry. You know that I cry every day. I don't know. I'm just an emotional person.
You and I both.
But anyway, I feel like I'm blabbering.
No, please. Someone said earlier, they're like, I could listen to Tyler read the phone book and nothing truer has ever been said. But you need to get audiobooks. You need to just
wait. Do they have phone books anymore? Do they have phone books?
Can that person identify what country they're from? I'm curious.
Oh my gosh, I need a haircut so bad, right? I just look down and I'm like,
Corn hair.
Corn hair. Anyway.
Okay, so something that you brought up that a few times, the self-acceptance being a big thing for you and in your journey, and also the shame that brought up. I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't think we take enough time to acknowledge how much nastiness we've picked up or we've learned, and and lives in our body and our cells, and we might not consciously know that or believe that or be in a pattern of reiterating it to ourselves, but it's in those microaggression moments where they come out, and we realize that there are things that are really deeply ingrained in us. And so for a lot of people, I think, especially if they're in a place of a journey with themselves, which I hope we all are right now, it's like taking the time to be like, well, what was the first time I saw a trans person represented? And what backwards ass things might I have associated with them as a result of the things that were brought into me, or the things that I know for me, it's like the things I was taught in my community. And for those who aren't Roswell fans and don't know me, I'm Hispanic. It's very clear on our show, but you might
yeah.
I'm Hispanic. And I've been thinking about this lately. So I was talking to a good friend about my friend Gabby Diaz, who's an amazing dancer. And we were talking about in our own community how much backwards ass narratives we have that we have to do the work to dismantle. And a lot of that comes from European colonization, from ideas that from the countries that we are from, when they were colonized, when we were forced to take in cultures that weren't our own. We also took in their backwards ass ideas. And so we have to dismantle that, because even within the Hispanic community, there's so much Afro, Latinx crossover, and then the actual experience of racism within the community is backwards. It's like, how do those two things exist? So that just, it made me, because I know you and I know how beautiful and loving and pure your heart is, and I fucking hate those parts of you that we're working on still getting out that are learned. You know what I mean? They don't line up with who you are. I
know. I mean, that's just like a really poignant thing. I mean, because like, I feel like especially right now, there's a lot of attention on, nature versus nurture and things like that. And just sort of like it's crazy too, because it's like, you're part of a minority group. I'm part of a minority group, but I'm like, even within those groups, like within the queer community, there are biases against straight people. Or things that I hear where it's just sort of like, I know the root of it is probably either ignorance, anger, or sadness, like, or shame,
Yeah.
But regardless, you can't fight fire with fire for too long, because otherwise we're just going to go in a circle. And so it's like, so it's so poignant for you to say that. And I agree with it 100%.
Well, it's just, it was really because there was this question of, do you have any outlets for dealing with judgment and hate? Our wonderful CW gals at PR sent us some questions, and I loved that.
Right.
What do you do to help you in those moments? And and maybe we can make it a positive question too, in the sense it's like, what are things that put a smile on your face? Like, whether it's like, friends, like an Instagram account, like, I don't know, like pride marches, like participating in that. Like, what are stuff that remind you with all of that, like we're moving in the right direction, that keep you on track, we'll say.
Right. Yeah. I mean, gosh, I think it's sort of this like concentric circle where it's like, I have people very close to me, who I can open up to, and I can talk to about those feelings. And because like I said, the support for me is there. It's more about like, guys, I'm having a tough day today. And it's not like I'm asking for them for validation. It's more like, can I just get this emotion out, or this idea out, or just, like I literally just said, I was so honest with my mom the other day. I was having a rough day where I felt some shame, and I just was transparent. And I said, Mom, I had a breakdown last night. Like, I cried myself to sleep. Like, just acknowledging that is so important. But yeah, after that, it's about doing things that make you feel authentic. And it could be things from literally a show that you love, to cooking, to like you said, an Instagram account. I mean,
Totally.
I'm not Instagram all the time, but I'm like, I try to, I mean, I know it sounds cheesy, but I just love, there are these like, I think I follow one called the like Good News Movement or something,
Yes.
you know, just because
Always
there's so much bullshit going on at all times, because human beings are pretty complex, you know, but like, I love stuff like that where anybody, I love when I can watch somebody feel proud of themselves or, I mean, literally, I just saw one and it was like this has nothing to do with pride necessarily, but it was a little boy with cerebral palsy and like his mom was taking a video of him like walking when the doctor was like, he's never going to walk. And he walks, you know, and it's just like stuff like that where I'm just like, oh, the hope of mankind. There's so much love. There's so much, there is happiness out there, you know, all of those things really do help, you know. I think for me, as far as within the queer community, it's really also about shaping your identity within the queer community, because just because you have a sexual preference doesn't mean that you will have the same personality as everybody with that same sexual preference. And, you know, there's no actual guideline on how to behave, how to dress, how to speak, you know, and I'm trying to figure out exactly who I am, period. And I want my sexual preference to be just one part of who I am. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Not my full identity, you know, and I just,
it's like that's like what you're responding to, and I think that's what this whole month is about. It's like people living their truth, people being in just like pure self. I think is bliss, and people react to it, and people love it, and it's powerful to share because it gets us in this pattern of like encouraging that from everyone.
Absolutely.
That's the stuff that blows my mind. You know, it's like the message is like just do you fool, like do you fully, you know? And it's like, how is that ever going to be not a beautiful thing to celebrate? Everybody just being like,
well, I mean, I think like you were talking about, you know, just like really understanding why we were taught certain things is going to strip away any untruths, and it's going to like really bring light to the fact that you can be accepting and you don't have to have any judgments, because unfortunately most people who are judgmental aren't even bad people. They're literally just ignorant to,
and they're trapped in that.
They're trapped, right? So I think education right now with, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement and, you know, Pride Month, it's like all about education.
Absolutely.
You know, I think more than anything. I think it's probably a combination of things, but ultimately, like you can march and you can do all of these things, but we have to teach the people who aren't marching why you're marching. You can't just say we're marching because we can. Why? Like, you know what I mean? And I just think that's going to bring facts. It becomes less about the other person being right or wrong. It's like, no, there are facts. Historically, within, you know, the Black community, within the queer community, within the, you know, Latina and Latino community, like, you know, it's like.
This is so perfect because I want to talk about allyship.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay. This is exactly what we're talking about. And a big thing. Okay. So first of all, I think that the interesting thing about allyship is that it's friendship, really, you know, it's listening, it's championing, it's loving someone unconditionally. It's all those things, of course. But the thing we got to focus on now is how it's active. And that's what you're speaking to now. That like allyship has to be active. And one way to do that is to normalize. Like, I know that's my work within my community, you know, where there are these pre-existing ideas. It's like, you know, I live in New York and LA and Santa Fe. I know and love so many queer people, trans friends. This is a statistic that I found. I watched Disclosure last night, which our friend
Jamie you did
on. Holy hell, Jamie Clayton, God bless her. She plays Charlie on Roswell. She's interviewed in this. This is a statistic they shared. 80% of people do not know a trans person. And that makes you go, the work to do then is for us who are lucky enough to know these outstanding members of our society, it's to go into our communities and say, hey, there's nothing to be afraid of, to normalize, you know. So that's something I've been thinking about a lot with allyship. And there's other ways to be active, you know. But here's the thing, it's like, I can know you and I can love you and I will champion you and be like, yo, go do this. You need to do this. I'm holding you accountable to do this because I know it's what's best for you, you know. But at the end of the day, if I'm not out there and rooting for people who are going to put legislation in place that protects you, then I'm not being an ally and I'm not being a friend. So that it be active is something I think we got to focus on.
But I think also too, you know, that's why it is so powerful when anybody's made to feel like they can be themselves, because it's just basically one step closer to normalizing, and then the allyship too can help support that. But I mean, like I had this thought about, like, even within my family, you know, nobody else in my family that I know of identifies as queer, and I'm like, they probably had preconceived notions about queer people or, you know, whatever, but I feel that suddenly it is personal to them. They have someone near and dear. And that's why, you know, for Jamie to, you know, that's why, you know, when you have that statistic and it's like, they don't know a trans person, and it's like, well, then you need to, we as allies need to create a space where they feel safe enough to make themselves known. You know? So I do agree with you. And it's funny because there's some days where I'm like, we've really come far in a lot of these areas, and then I look on another day and I'm like, oh, we have a lot of work to do, you know. And I just feel like, you know, there isn't like completely, the only wrong way to deal with this is to spit hate and perpetuate antiquated, like centuries old antiquated beliefs and things. And otherwise, okay, you know what, everybody's gonna go at their own pace, but ultimately it comes down to allyship. Like you said, it's friendship and love, but I think unfortunately, I think that's asking a little too much of some people. Sometimes you have to just say, all I need from you is respect. That's it. You don't have to want to be my friend. You don't have to love me. You just need to respect me. That's it. Because the reality is like, as kumbaya and shit as I can be, it's just not going to ever be the case where every single human being links arms around the globe. Like those, you know, the pictures show sometimes, right? But it's like, if we can just get to a place where everybody can feel authentic and respect other people. And I think another interesting point is people need to stop being afraid to be wrong. Like, I think another thing that keeps people prejudiced is they're so afraid that their foundation or like their fundamental beliefs are going to be rocked to the core, and suddenly they're wrong. And I think the reality is, like, everybody can be right. You know what I mean? Everybody can be right as long as there's a mutual understanding of respect, in my opinion. But I think that's a huge part of allyship too. I think, you know, if you can make someone feel loved, you're doing a brilliant job, you know. But minimally, just respect, you know, just respect. Absolutely. Go about your way and respect. But yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes we have to like swing the pendulum all the way to the other side, and there has to be some noise being made. But my hope is that we just get to a point where we can all just kind of live in this like place of like, you know, your identity is yours and you can have that. And guess what? I can have mine. And yet we can like still coexist. Whoa, what a concept. You know what I mean? And one of my friends, and I talked to Chandler about this and stuff too, where I'm like, where I'm just like, the reality is like, no one knows what they're doing in life. We're all just like perpetual toddlers, like trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
That's too true.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, everybody needs to just take a nap. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
I don't mean to make this stupid, but
no, but I agree with you because it's this like, how does it affect you? Truly, how does it affect you if someone else is living their life?
Exactly.
Let them live their life. Let them live their life.
Exactly.
I truly, I don't. Yeah, I think you're spot on, and I think the important thing is what you said earlier, which is we're clearly moving in the right direction. You and I have already seen that in our, very young age.
Yes.
So we're moving.
I'm excited for the younger generations. I mean, I feel like in some ways I'm not so excited because I'm like, we live in like what kids deal with now growing up. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, it's a whole different set of pressures or ideas of how to live life. And but then there are other things where I'm just like, whoa, like they are going to change the world, even just, right? I go back and forth sometimes with social media because I'm like, it's a place where people can either, feel inadequate if they look at it that way, or they feel fortified to have a voice of some kind. Whereas like a lot of people in any minority group don't feel like they have a place or a voice, I mean, I just can't imagine like someone who lives in a small-minded community and has all of these big ideas, no matter what they are, like that's such a platform for them, I feel like younger generations are starting to be more authentic to what they really believe in for like the future of the world. I mean, I hope that's what it seems like to me. And like I said, my brothers are 3 just like wonderful young men. I mean, they're literally, my youngest brother just graduated high school. I'm like shocked. But anyway, he, it's just so crazy to me. He's literally going away to college. Anyway, I love them so much because they're really trying to be so authentically themselves and just like, they care about other people's identities too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think that that's huge.
Oh my God, to like get a peek at 5 years from now, let alone 10 years from now, let alone 20 years from now, and like the world we're gonna, raise our kids with when I buy that start again.
Yeah,
that's gonna be exciting.
Yes.
I love you.
I love you. I miss you. I mean, obviously, even if you were in LA, we wouldn't really be hanging out yet.
Exactly.
But yeah, I do miss you, and I look forward to late night shoots. I never thought I'd say it.
Oh my God, I know. And you know what else I thought about? That Italian restaurant that we went to on.
Yes.
I thought of them the other day. I just thought of them the other day. Isn't that so weird when you're walking? I think they closed. And I was like, that pasta. Like it just came to me. And I thought of that night and I was like, oh shit, we gotta hit that when we get back.
We do. Yes, we definitely do. I know. I was just saying to Chandler the other day, I was like, there's like quite a few things I miss about Santa Fe. I mean, after like 3 to 4 months there, I'm like, whoa, claustrophobia sets in, but it's such a great little space. So.
Oh, I can't wait, babe.
Well,
I love you.
Thank you. But Jeanine, thank you so much for even agreeing to like come on here and host this and talk to me. And like, it's just, that's allyship, you are a self-identifying straight woman, as far as I know, but you're trying to be an ally, and you are being an ally, and that's so important. And you're such an example. You're such a, oh my God, why am I going to get emotional? I don't know. You know how I feel about you, girl.
I love you. I love you. I mean, if I can do right by you, that'll be like just the best thing ever. And that it be right by some of these gorgeous folks who are joining us. Like that's all you and I want, is to maybe get to do that. But
yeah,
shit out of you. I'm here for you always.
Thank you. Same. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you guys.
I hope that you enjoyed.
I'm going to save this where.
Oh yeah. Okay. No, wait. Can you give me a quick run through on how to do that? I did it wrong last time and it didn't work.
I think I do it, right? Since I have the CW account thingy. So I think
yeah, because I don't see anything on here that says to save it. So.
All right, I'm gonna handle this.
Okay, sounds good.
I love you.
Love you. Bye.